when she died, the city council president said about her, she was always about due diligence and doing her job. One of her constituents, who was a selectman, said she had an open door policy. She helped townspeople whenever she could. And her brother talked about some of those campaigns that she had in winning re-election 9 times, and said that even in the toughest campaigns, she refused to go negative. She taught people a good lesson. Elevating service above self, rising to the call of those in need, climbing and staying on that high road. These are lofty hallmarks of advocating for justice. And in accepting this award with Sue and for all of my colleagues, we know that it's an award not just of acknowledgement. It means an aspiration to strive and to serve in the way that Kelly Timothy did, and we're especially honored by that. Now, from the warm light of the memory of Kelly Timothy, I bring you the fire and crackle of energy of Mary Hoppy. Some CEOs, executive directors with whom I've worked, shrink from the demands of federal oversight or other scrutiny that comes obviously with running an organization as wonderful as Jane Doe. Mary, she stares into the eyes of all that scrutiny and she says, "Bring on your regulation." I'll answer it with perfect documentation. And along the way, by the way, I'll correct your punctuation. I have not stood at the shoulder of survivors and victims in the way that so many people in this room have and so many of my colleagues have. But I still have a story about Jane Doe that is an inspiring one and one that you as supporters all need to hear. Your vigilance in protecting victims and survivors is matched by the vigilance of Mary and her team in protecting the integrity of this organization. Your fearlessness in the campaign against domestic violence is matched by the fidelity that Mary and her team bring to principles of good governance, accountability, and effectiveness of Jane Doe. And it has been a privilege to work at her shoulder. Lastly, for me anyway, and then the big finale by my leader. This is the part where Mary told me I am supposed to somehow refer to all the goodness in me that bubbled up and prompted me to volunteer for Jane Doe. The truth is, I did not volunteer. I was enlisted by Sue and frankly by a mission at our firm that is greater than any person, than any current group of colleagues, however wonderful, and greater than any year of service. It's a signature mission that has spanned all of our offices around the country for decades, and we're proud of it. But the most remarkable thing about it to me is this, that before there was a mission at Mintz-Levin, there was one man. He was at the top of his game. He was our managing partner. He could have very easily basked in the applause of clients and colleagues. But somehow he heard the small voice, and he recognized it as the worthy voice of victims and survivors. And he, empowering other colleagues, working with so many leaders at our firm like Bob and so many others, he set us on this ennobling path. He's Ken Novak. He's here today. We are extra proud to share this award. Introduce a wonderful successor to the leadership of of Ken on these issues, the woman who really makes it all possible for us to help Jane Doe, its member organizations, and to do so much other wonderful pro bono work. My partner, Sue Finnegan.
Mary, and good morning, and thank you to the board members and staff of Jane Doe and all of its members throughout the state. This really is a real privilege for me to receive with Peter and the firm this wonderful award. I've had the pleasure of working with Jane Doe for probably more than 15 years now, a number of issues, and it really truly is an honor to receive this first award. You know, recently I was having coffee with a client about 6 months ago, and he asked me a series of questions, which I've really thought about in a while. And they all had to do with why I got involved in this work and why I continue to do this work, even though at times it's heartbreaking and challenging and difficult. And like I said, I hadn't really thought too much about it in a while. As Mary and I were talking this morning, and we talked about how we just keep doing the work. We don't necessarily think and reflect on why we do the work. And so I thought, given this purpose of this breakfast, I thought I would, maybe in a more articulate fashion, let you know at least 3 reasons why I do this work. First reason I continue to do this work is because the incredible community throughout the state of dedicated advocates to this issue. Shelter staff, lawyers, prosecutors, therapists, hospital staff, and wonderful organizations like Jane Doe and its members. You realize soon after you get involved in this work, you can't do it alone, and you need to rely on others to help your clients get what they deserve. Whether your client needs a shelter bed, and you can't help them get that, but you know the person to call, or when she needs a therapist or rape crisis counselor to work her through her issues that you can't help her as a lawyer, or whether you need to call someone in law enforcement to vouch for your client's participation in the prosecution process so that she can get the immigration relief that she deserves.